Welcome to our channel. We are Kaitlyn and Patrick. Tired of the rat race of everyday life, we purchased 15 acres of raw land in the mountains of East Tennessee. For the past 2 years, we've been working to make this land our dream property, building everything ourselves, including our solar setup, rainwater collection and filtration systems. We've cleared half an acre for our stunning mountain view, built our freestanding deck, our dream garden, and bike trails, all while living in an 18-foot camper as we make plans to build our dream cabin. All of this to chase a life of self-reliance and sustainability. Make sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss out on the transformation of our slice of paradise, or as we call it, Blackberry Ridge. Hi guys, so I got a very exciting project today, something we've been wanting to do on the property here for probably since about the time we moved up, but obviously we had other priorities. So a few weeks ago I picked up a stove for a hot tub. This is meant for those cedar hot tubs that you can purchase online. They're very expensive. We'd love to have one of those, but they're anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000, so kind of out of the question. But I actually picked up this stove from Facebook Marketplace. So you can actually just order the stoves. I think they run from like $900 to $1,800. I actually got this one for $250. It's a used one. Needs a little bit of cleanup, but it's actually in relatively good shape. It is a submersible tank or heater. So it actually goes into the water. You start a fire, heats the water. So yeah, it's pretty neat. And got it for a really good price. $250 is not bad for something like this. So, kind of coming up with a way to use it here. We actually picked up this stock tank the other day. It's a 6-foot stock tank. Wouldn't mind going with 8-foot, but I think those are like 700 gallons, and this one's only 390. We run on rainwater catchment here, so obviously the less amount of water, the better that we need for this type of thing. It's very hot. Actually today it's not, but it's been very, very hot lately. So don't think we'll be using the hot tub portion of this too much until the fall probably, but we can use it as like a plunge pool when it's hot up here and just get in there and cool off really good. But yeah, and the way we're actually going to fill this is, we don't want to deplete our rainwater catchment for something like this. That's just for enjoyment. We recently purchased a collapsible water bladder. So when we buried our tanks a couple months ago, we've actually been able to catch enough water to fill those tanks all the way. So we've ran an overflow to the bladder to fill it up. It's 130 gallons, I believe. And then there's also a spring about 30 minutes from here, so we can put that tote in the back of the car or the back of the truck and go fill it up. And a couple of fills will have this guy filled up. So that'll be the good plan too for moving forward. If we need to change out this water, once we have the house built, water won't be so much of an issue then, because we'll have a lot more catchment and a lot more storage. We have a very large amount of dirt back here that we are actually gonna move over here, kind of level this up. As you can see, it's not perfectly level. It kind of needs to come up about 3 or 4 inches over here to be level. So that the water sits level in it and it's not pushed all to one side. Try to get as level as we can. So I'm gonna get started on moving some dirt to level this up over here. And yeah, looking forward to this project. Have a lot more I'm gonna do to it as well. Kind of spruce up the tank a little bit and not just have a galvanized tank sitting there. So stay tuned for the project. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is spray around the outside with this white primer paint, just so I can know exactly where I need to level everything up. Because obviously I'm gonna have to move this tank to get the dirt over here. And this will just be a good visual for me while I'm filling the area. I'm not worried about getting paint on the outside of this because, like I said, we're gonna spruce it up a little bit. So I'm not gonna be too concerned about that. I'm gonna put it probably about a foot, maybe a foot and a half off. That way I know the whole area is leveled if I need to adjust it some, but I'm pretty happy with that spot there. Clearly I'm no skilled operator. The main point of that was just to break up some of those clumps of clay rock and try to compact it a little bit to kind of see where I'm at. And now I'm going to try to level it by hand some. If I were better on the machine, I could probably just do it with the machine, but I think I'll do more damage than good with that at this point, so I'm going to keep going. I think it's getting there. I don't know. We'll see. Pretty level now. I ran over it with the excavator several times. I had to quit filming because it started raining a little bit. Not enough to like quit working, but enough to not want my phone to get wet. So I'm going to move the tank over there now, see if it is level completely. I put a level to it, but until I have the tank on there, I don't know that I'll know for sure. I think there's a couple low spots. I've got a few bags of sand that I may use on those. We'll see. But yeah. It looks, front to back it doesn't look level, but on the level it says it is, so we'll see once the tank's on there and I can put a level on the tank, and we'll go from there. I may do the sand anyway, just because there's a couple little rocks, and we'll get it in place and see how it is. Alright, so it is perfectly level in some spots and perfectly unlevel in a few spots. So I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and pull the tank back out, continue to try and level it a little bit more. Yeah, actually I may try to slide it over and see if that helps. Let's see. It's not 100% perfect, but it's within those two lines, so I'm going to call that good. It's actually better in some other spots. That's the worst spot. And the floor is level. Obviously, it's going to settle some, and I have no way of knowing if this board is actually straight or if the tank is actually straight. It could be a little bit warped, so I'm going to call that good. It's not perfect, but it'll do. Did end up putting some sand down there, which I think will be good long term. Obviously, I'm going to have to clean it out. That's fine. No big deal. I knew I was going to have to be getting in and out of it, so I'll probably wait till we're ready to fill it to clean it. It's not looking too good here. A little stormy. So we'll see what else I can get done today. Alright, so I took a little bit of a break while the sun was out. It was a little bit warm. So I've got my pump here. This is just a Best Way sand pump you can get on Amazon for, I think it was a little bit over $100. Pretty energy efficient, which is obviously important here since we run on solar power. This is not something we're going to be running like constantly either. Obviously it's going to be ran, I think it's an 8,000 gallon pump. This is only 390, so I'll probably run it for an hour or two a day at most, and if we can't run it because we don't have the power that day, then we won't. But really it's going to be ran while we have a fire going, getting the heat circulated throughout the pool. So yeah, I just got it set up. Didn't video any of that, but it's not so important. I will say the connections that it comes with, they don't work for if you're not using like an above ground pool that's just the pool aligner. We've had one before, so I kind of know a little bit about these things just because I had to learn them in the past. So you do have to order a different style, and that style is the kind that you drill a hole, this goes through, and it basically clamps on. I'm also going to be siliconing this as well. It comes with some rubber gaskets, but just as precaution, we don't want to have any leaks because we don't have unlimited water just to keep refilling it. So I'm going to put some silicone on there as well, in addition to the 2 rubber gaskets that it comes with. But yeah, we're going to drill a hole, or 2 holes, inlet and an outlet, and since I don't have any water, I can't test it today, but hopefully soon we'll have some water in here. And after that, probably, depending on time, go ahead and get the firebox secured as well. So this actually has to be bolted to the side because it is full. It's going to be full of air and firewood, of course, but yeah, it'll float if we don't secure it to the side. So got some rubber washers for that. It has rubber washers on it, but I'm not sure what kind of shape they're in because I don't know much about this. The guy that I bought it from didn't have a lot of information about, you know, how old it was or anything like that. So who knows how old it is. So we're gonna get it secured to the side so it doesn't float, because that would be disastrous. And then yeah, maybe tomorrow we'll get some exterior paneling on the sides of this and build a cover, and all we need is some water then, and a little bit of landscaping from where I, you know, ruined the yard, but that might be for later. But yeah, I'm gonna drill a couple holes and hope I don't drill them too big. Alright, so there you go. Got my inlet over here. Or sorry, outlet. My inlet down there. The thought process is the hot water is mostly going to be around here to begin with, so that'll intake it, outtake it here. A little closer together than I'd like, but a little bit limited on these hoses. Morning, guys. Back at it today with the stock tank hot tub. First thing I need to do is get this secured to the sides here. There's already some brackets. They just need to be bit the correct way to attach. And this is the wood I'm going to be using on the sides. It's actually just cedar fence boards. So I'm going to cut those down to size. I'm going to also put a couple underneath the heater itself. Keep it up off the metal. I think this is 5/8. So just enough to not heat up the metal much more than it's going to anyway. Just have a little bit of water underneath that. So I'm going to try to get these boards on today as well, but first got to get that attached, and while I have it out, I'm going to clean it as well, because it needs a little bit of cleaning too. So yeah, get started on that. Alright, so that took a lot longer than expected. I originally intended to pull these brackets out to the side so I could easily mark and drill. But unfortunately they're a little bit compromised. When I tried to pull them out, I was worried it was going to break the weld. Like I said, I don't know much about the stove as far as, you know, how old it is or anything like that. I know that it's aluminum powder coated to protect it from rusting, obviously, and it seems to be in pretty good shape other than that. But yeah, so these are actually going to go on the outside poking out because they're a little bit too long. I've got some shorter ones, but I'd rather do that on the front where I'm going to have the cedar fence to protect you from accidentally bumping into it when it's hot. So yeah, it's kind of a pain in the butt, but got him. I did end up having to, I was kind of drilling by feel, to be honest, to get these holes. I used a step drill, which I love a good step drill. It makes it so much easier. But anyway, yeah, when I was drilling these, got them the first try. Those two bottom ones, not quite. As you can imagine, it's a lot easier to drill looking from here to here than all the way down there. So what I ended up doing is actually drilling another hole through the bracket so that I can make it work. Tried to mark it with a Sharpie, didn't work. I thought I had a small, what do you call it? A really small paintbrush. I was going to try to spray paint some on and then mark it, but I couldn't find it. So this is what we're going with. But gonna get this pulled out, get it cleaned up. Go ahead and probably clean up the inside of this. I think I'm done getting in and out. Well, once this is in, I'm done. So I may not clean all that yet. But then get it installed and then move on. So I've got everything set up now. This is as clean as it's going to get. It was actually a little bit dirtier than it looked on the outside originally, but I've got my bolts in here with my washers. I'm also going to put silicone there and on the outside as well. Then it should just be a matter of getting it in place and screwing it together and hoping it stays sealed. I've been running into a few issues. Obviously, this is a DIY project, which most of the time does come with issues because there's no like step-by-step what to do when. I usually have a pretty good plan in my head of what I'm going to do in what order, but things tend to always take a little bit longer than you think, and things do not typically go smoothly in my experience. I'm obviously not like a professional at any of this, so that would probably help if I knew exactly what I was doing, but a lot of the times it's having the right tool for the job and knowing how to use it and making sure you have every little bit and piece that you could think you might need. But yeah, I ended up having to use the short bolts on this side, which I didn't really want to, but what I'll probably do is just get some short bolts for the front so they're not sticking out, or so that they can go in and not stick out. But yeah, so far not so smooth.
I look out across the water, I smell the song, I feel the breeze. But in my heart I hear the calling of my old home, Tennessee.
Alright, so I got it installed. It's kind of a pain. I think it's going to work though. Got rubber washers in there and silicone both. And they snugged up pretty tight. I don't know how well you can see it, but I think it'll be okay. And a silicone on the outside as well. I'm gonna leave holes here where the wood's gonna go so that we can remove the heater if we need to, and also make sure there's no leaks. So yeah, gonna go hang some laundry. If you're curious how we do laundry here on the property, we're on rainwater catchment and solar, so I'll link a video here that shows us, or shows you guys how we do laundry. It's actually kind of a cool setup, something we just kind of came up with on the fly because we got tired of going to the laundromat, so excuse me. But yeah, gotta get that hung up while it's still sunny and then come back, and I think I'm gonna start putting the wood on the outside. I'm hoping that'll go quickly. I think it will, except for the holes that I have to cut, because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7 holes. Got the drain hole here that I want to leave accessible, the outlet, the inlet, and then of course these 4 bolts here. So I'm going to start on the back side and work my way around and get to the hard part at the end. And if I don't get there today, I don't get there today. All right, so the plan here is to attach these fencing boards that I've cut down. I think it's like 22 7/8 to go right there. So that it's gonna go under the lip because everything else is the same width there. Yeah, I think it's gonna look nice. Might eventually paint this. I don't know. It's probably not gonna be visible with the cover on, or that visible. So I'm gonna go ahead and wipe it down with mineral spirits as I go. There's already some dirt on it, so I'm gonna do it as I go because I'm probably gonna kick up a little bit as I walk around. And then gonna be using liquid nails, heavy duty liquid nails to be able to glue it to the side here. Got some clamps. I think it takes like 15 minutes to set, so I'm hoping I can just clamp it maybe on there, maybe hold it for a minute until it sets, and then just go around making sure the first one's level so the rest are mostly level. But yeah, gonna get started on that part. I think it's gonna make it look a lot nicer, and that's good and set. I'm not going anywhere, just hopefully doesn't leak. And like I said, I'm gonna cut holes out for these so that we can access them later if we need to. So this is what I'm going to be using to secure it. Have no idea if it's going to hold long term. My plan, if it doesn't, is to just have like metal cable to kind of secure it all together. I think it'll hold for the most part. There might be a few that I don't, but I think if I clean it pretty well, it says it's waterproof and weatherproof. And it's just heavy duty liquid nails. I only have 4 of these. I don't know that I have enough. Wasn't really sure how much to get, so I just bought a few. But got a couple boards. I'm going to start with one and then use the other as my template for the others. And then probably going to cut a bunch so that I can move a little quicker. Especially once I get past these. Those are all solid pieces. So until I get over there, it shouldn't take too long just to stick them up as long as they hold.
Where these rivers flow, why the wind chooses when and where to blow. The sun is gonna rise.
The angle of the video is terrible for that. Sorry, I apologize. But yeah, it's kind of holding itself up in the moment, so I'm just gonna kind of let it hang out there, see what happens. It looks like it's starting to set. It's pretty warm today, so it should set pretty quick. It is pretty well level. So yeah, just gonna cut some more boards and then keep going around the outside.
Each and every time, but I've still got Tennessee on my mind. From Leapers Ford to Watertown, and maybe Johnson City or Memphis bound. No matter where I go, no matter what I see, I still hear the calling of Tennessee. Who are we to know where these rivers flow, or why the wind chooses when and where to blow?
Alright, it's looking pretty good. Not completely perfect, but that's alright. Those holes lined up pretty nice. Made them a little bit bigger than necessary. But yeah, I think it's coming together really nicely. I am almost out of glue, so I think I'm gonna run into town. We've got a small hardware store close by, and I may go ahead and grab some more. About halfway done, so I'll probably get 5 things of glue to make sure I'm good. Yeah, not bad. Looks a lot better than the metal, that's for sure. Also, the reason I went with the cedar fencing is because of its price. I really like the look of cedar, but and the smell. And it's also really good for being outside, but tends to be pretty expensive. So the fencing boards were actually like less than $4 a piece. I think they're 8 foot long, so I'm able to get 3 pieces out of it and not waste a whole lot. I think my waist piece is like this big, so. And it has the dog ear on it anyway, so I wouldn't want to use that. I want to keep it all straight all the way across. And yeah, it's looking good. Staying pretty straight. I check it every so often. But yeah, I think it's looking a lot better than the metal is. Should also help hopefully keep that metal from getting sun exposure all the time and that sort of thing. So yeah, gonna cut up some more boards and then probably go get some more glue and try to finish it out today. I may even try to get the cover or the fence for that on. We'll see. It's pretty early still. It's only 1 o'clock. All right, I'm back from the hardware store. Got 6 more cans of liquid nails. I think I only need 5, but I got 6 just in case. Let's hope I don't need more than that. Also found some stainless steel bolts that I can use for the fence that needs to go in the front of the heater. So I may get into that today. I've already, before I left, I went ahead and cut, I think, all the boards that I'm going to need. If not, I can cut a couple more, but I don't want to cut too many because I want to use that for something else if I have any extra. But yeah, gonna get back to it and get these boards slapped on and then maybe build that fence today. Maybe the top too. We'll see.
I miss the smoke on the Cumberland and the fireflies at midnight and the color of the leaves in the fall.
Sorry, my phone shut off when I was finishing this last bit here. I think it got too hot. It was kind of right in the sun, unfortunately. But yeah, got it done. Did end up having to freehand these holes. Less than ideal. I wanted to use a hole saw, but it was the exact size of the hole I needed. I want it to be a little bit bigger so that if we want to or need to replace those, we can get in there and take those off with often remove panels. Yeah, so looks good. There's a couple that were a little warped. They didn't turn out too great on the side here. I think they'll be okay though. One right in the front, of course. But yeah, for the most part, I think I did pretty good. I did end up having to rip this last board just a little bit, like a blade length basically. So that worked out really nicely. I wanted to end back here because it's gonna be covered by the pump and everything and the little building I'm gonna build for the pump. But yeah, I mean, obviously it doesn't look great. I didn't get the table saw out for one cut, so it's not perfect, but like I said, it's not gonna be visible. But it's really nice that it ended up with almost a full board and didn't have to rip one in like 2-inch piece or something. But yeah, I think I'm gonna attempt to build the fence for the heater box and may call it a night. We'll see. Still have plenty of sunlight, but I'm pretty sure I'm sunburnt at this point. All right, so I took a little bit of a break, went inside and cooled down a little bit and waited for the sun to kind of go behind the trees. So I have some shade back here because I think I might be a little bit sunburnt. I'd done a pretty good job of moving the umbrella around to protect myself from the sun, but didn't really take into effect the reflection off of the tank here, so we'll see. But anyway, I'm gonna start to build the fence here. So it's going to be a cedar fence that goes across the front of this just to protect you from accidentally bumping into that. Obviously that's going to be really hot when a fire's going, so it's just an added precaution. Usually when you buy one of these stoves new, it comes with a cedar fence. So I'm just going to make one. They do sell the fence separately, so I may end up ordering one if the cedar that I use doesn't hold up. I can't imagine being submerged in water long term. It's going to hold up for a long time, but anyway, I'm just going to build one now. And like I said, if I need to purchase one from them later because this fails, I can do that pretty easily. The one I'm building is a little bit cheaper than the one that they sell, so that's why I'm doing it this way. Gonna get on that, and then maybe we'll get into the cover a little bit later.
I ain't never felt a kind of love like this before. You took all the worries from my mind. Darling, please forgive me if I stare a little more. I can't look away from those brown eyes. And if we settle down, we don't have to settle down. Please don't be afraid of all the things that could go wrong. We can take our time and we may change our mind. But I can tell a good thing when a good thing comes along. Darling, tell me all about the dreams you had last night. You can be so restless in your sleep. I ain't going nowhere, always feels so very right. When you find good love, it's the one that you should keep. And if we settle down, we don't have to settle down. Please don't be afraid of all the things that could go wrong. That we can take our time and we may change our mind. But I can tell a good thing when a good thing comes along. If I ever hurt you, dear, oh, I apologize. Heaven knows I am no perfect man. I can't take another night without you by my side. Please come home as quickly as you can.
All right, I think that looks pretty good. Not perfectly spaced, because I wanted to leave enough room where the screws are to be able to get in there and remove those if we need to take that off for any reason. So yeah, really happy with that. Like I said, I have no idea how it's going to last. Obviously you can still reach your hand in there, but yeah, we're not going to do that. It's just common sense, right? Obviously if you have a kid around, that's a little different, but I don't know too many kids that soak in a hot tub, so we'll just have to be mindful of that. It's more for your legs, not bumping up to it. Obviously your foot can get in there too, but again, use a little bit of brain power, you'd be all right. So that actually went a little bit quicker than I thought it would for the fence. So I think I am going to start on the top. I don't know that I'll get it done tonight. I don't think it's going to take that long, but usually when I think that, it takes quite a bit longer than I think. But this actually went pretty quick, maybe 15-20 minutes, I don't know. So yeah, I think I will go ahead and start the top, and I'll kind of walk you through the plan for that. Obviously we need to keep this covered if it's going to have water in it full time or most of the time. You know, we need to be able to keep mosquitoes from breeding in here. That's one thing we don't have too much of an issue with up here. And we do have mosquitoes, but they're not like crazy. But if we have a standing water here, it's going to be an issue. So yeah, gonna build a quick little cover for that. And hopefully it'll keep most of the bugs and mosquitoes out. I don't know that it'll keep everything. There are some gaps here, so things can definitely still get in there. May try to figure out something for that. I had bought some like high heat silicone I was going to put in there, but I didn't really realize that there's nothing underneath it. It'll just go straight down, so I don't know, maybe some kind of putty. That's high heat. We'll see.
Settle down. We don't have to settle down. Please don't leave.
All right, so the plan for the cover, it's gonna be pretty simple, like a normal hot tub cover. Trying to think. It's almost wide enough. I have a whole nother piece, but I'm not gonna need it because I got plenty I cut off there and put there. My thought was that it would hinge this way, like fold in like a taco this way. It might look better if it does it this way. The only problem with that is I want to keep it covered as we're heating it. I mean, somewhat. I'm going to move it back off of the metal over here, of course. So when I do that, I worry that it's going to kind of hinge in on itself. I mean, it'll still be supported on this side. I guess I could rest on the wood over there, and it might be okay. I don't know. But basically, it's just a half-inch piece of plywood. I'm going to cut it out, just basically circle it underneath with a pencil and jigsaw it. And let's see what else. Yeah, I got like a piano hinge that I'm going to put on it. I got some batten that you use like when you're quilting to kind of cover it up. And then some inexpensive marine vinyl. Don't know how long that'll last because it was inexpensive, but we'll give it a shot. But yeah, I think it's going to look nice. I just got to figure out what I'm doing. Okay, I think I decided what I'm going to do here. I think I'm just going to make one piece. So obviously I'm going to have to attach a piece there, but what I'm thinking is cut a couple strips of the plywood, or actually I have some extra pieces of the cedar, and screw it in underneath so it's like solid there. Not even use a hinge because it's actually not going to be that big. I don't think it'll be that heavy. I do have some handles for it if you're taking it off by yourself. Just have to kind of figure out where the best place for that's going to be. But yeah, I think that'll be a good plan. Like I said, I only need one sheet, but I got a whole another one, which will be good for when I build the little cover for the pump. This is not pressure treated because it's going to be covered in vinyl. I didn't think it was necessary, and I didn't know if it would be good to be near the water like that too. So yeah, I think it's a good plan. We'll try it. If not, I've got a whole other piece over there, which should be enough.
Afraid of all the things that could go wrong. We could take our time, and we may change our mind. But I can tell a good thing when a good thing comes along.
Alright guys, so it's the full cover. This is not structural at all, obviously. I didn't have any nails or screws that were short enough, and I kind of wanted them to come out and go over as well because I thought that might make it more secure, less likely to pull out if I just use brad nails. So I just went ahead and put a couple of layers of duct tape here. Obviously the batten's going to go over that too, but I just didn't want it to end up poking holes through the cover. So we'll see how that works. I mean, I don't know, just came up with it on the fly, but at least it'll keep you from scratching yourself right now at least. But yeah, that's all that's for. But yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Gonna go ahead and cut the batten out. Probably go ahead and cut the vinyl and maybe even get it stapled on. Usually that doesn't take that long, so might as well. Still have a little bit of daylight left. Have some things I need to be doing, but you know, I want to finish this. So I haven't upholstered anything in a while, and I forgot that you have to kind of pleat it as you go when it's round like this. So I just pulled all those staples out. They weren't too bad to get out with a flathead screwdriver. But yeah, so gotta start again and pleat this time. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, it's not perfect. It's got some wrinkles, but I think when the sun hits it, it'll kind of work its way out. It's pretty tight though. It's definitely not my best upholstery job. I'm no upholsterer, but I guess that's what it's called. It's the largest piece I've ever done, so it definitely is a little more challenging than smaller pieces. But yeah, I'm gonna flip it over now and give it some more nail or staples to make sure it's good, and then maybe trim off some of the excess and put some handles on it. All right, I didn't trim any of it yet. I'll probably do that tomorrow because it's getting late and I need a shower before it gets dark, an outdoor shower, and it's been a long day. So I'm just gonna add these little door handles, basically like gate handles, probably to either side, so if you have someone helping you take it off. I don't know. Probably play around with it and see what works good. My phone's also about to die, so hopefully it's not going to. Yeah, I'll get these installed real quick and then should be it for the night. But yeah, it's pretty happy with how it's coming along. It's looking like a hot tub. Actually, I think I'm gonna wait to add these tomorrow because I think these are a little bit too long, so I'm gonna have to add some backing on there. But yeah. It's late. I want to think a little bit more about where I want to put these. I mean, it's ideal if you've got two people, one person there, one person here, but I mean, you can take it off without the handles. It's just something to grab onto. So I'm going to think about it, leave these here tonight and figure it out. We'll see you in the morning. Hopefully tomorrow we'll get finished or close. Morning, guys. It's day 3 of the hot tub build. So today's plan is to get some weed barrier down around the outside of this, so I can do a little bit of landscaping. Got some leftover cedar mulch from when we did the garden, so I don't know if I have enough, but I'm gonna see how far I can get with it. It's a pretty big bag. Sorry about the dogs. But yeah, gonna get this down. I think I'll leave it this width. I think it's 1 foot and 4 inches, something like that. 1.4 feet, something like that. Anyway, I got some edge guard. I'm gonna put around that to keep the mulch in. That way when we're mowing this area, we don't have to weed eat up against the cedar here. We can just weed eat up against the edge guard. And I mean, weed barrier's not foolproof. Things do go through it eventually, so, but it should work for a little bit anyway. And then I think I'm gonna try to tackle the cover for the pump there and get it clean, maybe start filling it up with a little bit of water. See how far we get with all that. But yeah, first thing I'm gonna do is clear out some more of this grass right here. I want to put some more rocks like we have in our little pathway. Got a couple rocks over here. I'm gonna kind of put there so we have a nice flat area to land on when we're getting in and out of the hot tub. So thanks for joining. Alright, so got all that done. I'm gonna go back and add a few more of those nails throughout. It's not the prettiest, but it's gonna get covered in mulch, so I think it'll be alright. Stuff's not easy to work with, especially when you're going in a circle. So yeah, it's kind of ugly, but it'll work. And made it a little bit wider back here to accommodate for the pump housing. Hopefully it's wide enough. We'll see, I guess. If not, I may just cut out the plastic there and let it overhang. It's not a big deal. So, but yeah, gonna tidy it up a little bit and then probably start on the pump housing. Get that done, get it all hooked up, cleaned up, and start filling it. I built the box. I didn't record any of it. I was just trying to find some shade to work in because it's very sunny today, which is great for the solar power, but not so great for working outside because we don't have a ton of shade up here, as you can see. But again, that's great for getting solar power. So yeah, I built it. I'll show you a video of it in a second, but just kind of framed it like you would a wall somewhat, and then put some cedar on the outside. I ran out of full pieces of cedar, so I tried to use it on the front to where I could, you know, it would look better from the front. And then on the one side that we'll really never see, I kind of piecemealed it together, but that's fine because I used up all the pieces of cedar fencing. I just have like 2 pieces there. And then for the top of this, I think I'm actually going to put a piece of metal roofing. I think I have a piece that's the perfect size. If not, I have a couple of pieces. It is a flat roof. I was going to put cedar on it, but it's just going to hold on to water. So, and this is not pressure treated, this plywood. So I did leave a little bit of an overhang on most of the sides there, that cedar, and then I did sheathe it with some of that 1/2-inch plywood because I had it. So it's very heavy, and I'm going to move it into place now. And then I've got to drill, I think, 3 holes for it. 2 for the intake, or 1 for the intake, 1 for the outtake, or outlet, I guess. And then 1 for the electrical plug. The one for the electrical plug is actually going to be pretty large, which I'm not too thrilled about, but the adapter is pretty thick. So yeah, and then I'm gonna get it in place. Let's hope it fits. I measured everything, so probably would have been nice to build it in place, but it's very sunny over there, and I would have to put the umbrella in the pool in order to get shade. So I just decided to build it underneath the awning of the camper. So in order to remove the top, you just pull it off. Just put a couple pieces of boards there to kind of keep it in place. And then it's a little bit snug. I mean, there's room around the outside, but the bottom's snug. And looks like there's a couple of places to screw it down, so I may do that. But yeah, turned out pretty good. Yeah, so the outlet for the plug is going to have to at least be a couple inches in order to get this thing through. I could splice it and put it back together, but I really don't want to do that. I think I have a plan to try to seal up that hole pretty well, though. Not worried about bugs. Obviously, bugs are going to get in here regardless. You know, spiders, things like that. They can find their way in pretty much anything. The big thing I don't want living in here is mice, because they could chew up that cable. They may even chew up these hoses, which would be not great.
Caught behind Venetian blinds, out of reach for the city lights. This ain't where I belong.
Alright, so it's in. All the holes are drilled. They're a little bigger than I wanted, but I had to go with what hole saw size I had on hand. Like I said, this one was going to have to be huge anyway to get this through it, but I think I have a plan to seal it back up. So I'm going to cut this hole a little bit bigger and then have like a straight cut out here slide it in on the inside, nail it, and then I can spray foam anything from there. Because that's a massive hole, and a rat could get through there pretty easy. A mouse, rat, heck, I don't know, a raccoon. But anyway, really happy with that. Looks good. I already tried the cover just to make sure it didn't hit that, and we're good on that. It's very tall, but like I said, this is going to be a table for when you're in the hot tub too, so it serves multiple purposes, and not mad at how it is. Just need to clean up a little bit of sawdust on these guys, clean those up. Another thing I'm actually going to do as well, I'm going to wrap these in some black, it's actually just ribbon. Couldn't really find anything else that wasn't like tape. Above ground pools we've had in the past, these tend to get algae growing in them because they get sunlight. You can kind of see through them, but not all the way. So the sunlight affects that. So yeah, gonna try to wrap those and see if that doesn't help. I think it'll look better too. Just what's ever exposed outside, and then spray foam those holes if I have a can. If not, I'll pick one up. All right, so I ended up having to use a straight board instead of that circle. Every time I would drill the circle, it would just snap. So that'll work fine. It's much smaller of a gap than the hole, and I can spray foam that no problem. Unlike a hole this size, it's kind of hard to spray foam, so I think that'll be fine. It shouldn't rub. It's going to be plugged in all the time. So yeah, happy with that. Just gonna get these hoses connected, figure out how much of the cable I need out there, and then go ahead and spray foam all of this stuff up.
Hey, look at me, man, what I've become. I've been running east, looking for a sunset, digging deep.
All right, I've got those covered and got everything spray foamed. It's kind of hard for me to make spray foam look pretty, but it's serving its purpose. That's the big thing.
All alone, I think it's time for me to go, burn all bridges. All I know, I got lost along the way, fell between the foam.
So this is my setup for transferring water. It's a little janky, but it works. When we first moved up to the property, this is the only way we could transfer water from our IBC totes over there. We didn't have solar power set up at that point, so we needed to be able to use an alternate source rather than run a generator every time we needed to transfer water. So it's come in handy a lot. Still have it and still use it for things like this. So I think it's about 130 gallons. Like I said, it's overflow from those two tanks. I'm gonna see if it'll make it over there. It should. We've done it much further in the past, but yeah, just runs on a battery. You hook it up, and there's a little switch. We'll go ahead and try it out now. Sounds like it's working. Oh yeah. Perfect. If any of you out there have a galvanized pool, hot tub situation, I don't know, leave us some suggestions on how to treat the water. So I'm worried about chlorine with the galvanized tub. I'm afraid it's going to cause it to rust. Same with salt water. So I don't know. I know hydrogen peroxide is another option, but from what I understand, you need a UV light for that to actually be effective. So yeah, give me some suggestions. Right now, we're just going to kind of wing it and see how it goes without treating it. It's going to be covered all the time. We've got the filter, which is going to filter out some of the contaminants. We can always change out the water as needed, but just curious if you have any ideas on how our main concern is that we're going to be heating this at some point, probably not anytime soon, but you know, obviously things like to grow in a moist, warm environment. So yeah, suggestions on that would be helpful. Rather not have to change out the water once a week or once every time we want to use it, so anything would be helpful for us. Appreciate it. All right, so I'm at the spring with Pat. He's back.
Yo!
And fill it up. There's not enough pressure in the spring to rise up to the trailer, let alone the back of the truck. So we brought the sump pump, or the transfer pump, and the battery. It's working pretty well. We're just sitting here waiting for it to fill. All right, made it back to the property. We got our transfer pump set up here. Going over to the hot tub. I was actually able to get some cedar mulch put in here. I ran out, as you can see. But it looks a lot better here than it did before, and got those rocks placed. But yeah, it's starting to fill up. We actually ended up buying a horse stall mat to put in the bottom here. Our thought was once this is heating up, even though it's not touching the metal on the bottom, obviously the metal is going to get at least as hot as the water is going to be. So typical hot tub, 104 degrees, so that metal is going to be pretty hot if it's 104 degrees. Yeah, so that's why it's so dark. And then it kind of has like a yellow tinge to it, and I believe that's from the cedar. We've had water soaking in there overnight just a little bit, and I think that's what that's from, but not a big deal. It's nice, clean, clear water, as you can see, straight from the spring. Yeah, I think one more round from the spring and we should have this filled up, and can fire up the fire, see how it works. The stock tank hot tub is done. Obviously we need a little bit more water, so I guess it's not quite done, but it's usable now. Patrick just went to go get some more water to put in it from the spring, and I've got the filter running. You can't really even hear it, it's very quiet, even with the top off. A little bit louder, I guess, but it's not too bad. I did check to make sure it doesn't get too hot in there while it's running. It definitely doesn't. The water's pretty cold, so yeah, I'm about to take a dip for the first time because it's 93 degrees today and it's very hot and humid. So yeah, I'm gonna go rinse off in the outdoor shower, get all the sweat and gunk off of me, get in and soak. Obviously I did not heat it up, no need for that. So yeah, first time. Also gonna put some tiki torches around the outside. Found a little bit more mulch to put here, but I still need more to go right here. So it's not quite finished yet, but it's pretty close. We will test out the heater sometime soon just to see, you know, how long it takes to get up to temperature, that sort of thing. Last round of filling the hot tub. We probably won't need everything that's in that 132 gallon tank, but our garden water is actually empty, so we're going to use the rest to fill that up. Ice cold water, but it feels great on this hot sunny day. All right, that's it for the hot tub project. We heated up last night. It took about 2 hours. We started off with a slow fire, small fire, trying not to overheat it, so took a little longer than expected, but I think we could knock it down at least a half an hour, maybe more in the future if we kind of start off with a bigger fire. Yeah, it did great though. We actually got in it for a little bit, even though it was a little bit too warm to be in a hot tub last night, but the fire's still kind of smoldering in there. So the water is still very warm, so we'll see how long it takes to get back down to about 80 degrees. Probably a good while, but we're supposed to get some rain this week, so that should help. But yeah, very happy with how it turned out. Very happy that it works properly, and gonna get a lot of use out of this coming fall and winter. Works great. The heater's awesome. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like this kind of content, make sure you like and subscribe so you can see more projects like this in the future. We appreciate you watching.